Mark Meirowitz is a political analyst and professor at State University of New York Maritime College. He joins me live now. Mark, great to see you. So I know that in the US, gun control legislation is always this balancing act between meaningful measures but not total restrictions. But I guess if the litmus test is, will it prevent future mass shootings, this new legislation doesn't achieve that, does it? Or this new bill towards new legislation, I should say.
Well, it's definitely something, and it's going to be helpful, but it's hard to say what the impact is going to be. Now, certainly the increased checks on buyers younger than 21 seems like a very, very good proposal. And also the loophole dealing with the so-called boyfriend loophole, where people are dating and a person is convicted of domestic abuse and taking guns away, seems like a good idea. And the encouraging of the red flag laws. So these are good things, and they actually did something. Does it go far enough? Not really, but it is a step in the right direction. Whether it's the precursor to more legislation, very doubtful, very doubtful.
So you mentioned there the tougher background checks for buyers younger than 21, juveniles. You know, a lot of people outside the US will be questioning why US teenagers are able to buy assault weapons when they can't drink till they're 21.
You know, it's America. You know, we have a Second Amendment. The Second Amendment binds all of our states and the federal government. And has the right to bear arms. We really don't know the full scope of it. There's actually a case pending now in the Supreme Court involving a New York provision to restrict the ability to get a gun license to only people who can show good cause. Most likely the Supreme Court is going to strike that down. So this debate is raging all over America. The reaction to this bill, I was looking on Twitter, and from the National Rifle Association, from NRA, is absolutely, they're outraged by this. Even these steps that have been taken, which are common sense steps supported by Mitch McConnell even, who has an A rating with the NRA, are way too much for the supporters of the NRA and for the NRA. So we are in a very fraught situation. We continue to see these disastrous situations, including the one you reported on in Uvalde, Texas, the killing of those 19 children and 2 teachers by a young man who basically, when he turned 18, he went to get the guns. So that is sort of maybe an immediate reaction to that, and that's why they're doing that one.
But as you've pointed out, I mean, I think this is the first time in decades that proposed gun safety legislation has received this level of bipartisan support from both Republicans and Democrats. Do you think we're seeing the start of perhaps baby steps towards more gun control legislation in future then?
I think not. What we are seeing now is sort of because of the 2022 elections, a number of these senators on the Republican side who supported this legislation are not, most of them are not up for re-election in 2022. A few are, but they have a solid political base. The risk behind all of this, and this is maybe another subject, is what's happening with the Republican Party in terms of the influence of President Trump, the January 6 hearings, all that's going on. The point that happened here is structural in terms of the Senate. You can't really get over this 60 votes. You need 60 votes out of 100. There are 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans. They needed these 10 Republicans to get to 50 Democrats plus 10 Republicans, make it possible to do this step. Is it possible they're going to go further? Is there going to be an assault weapons ban? Unlikely. Is there going to be the, raising the age to 21, what you just referred to so aptly? Very unlikely. So the point is, they got this accomplished. Hopefully it will go through, much to the consternation of the interest groups and the lobbies and the Congress, and particularly the NRA, who do not want to have any gun control of any kind whatsoever. How can this continue with these events? Somebody's got to do something about it. All of our political leaders are frustrated, but our politicians are looking to the next election in 22 and the presidential election in 24. And that is their guidepost. And that, in my humble opinion, is not a good guidepost. It's trying to stop this. But we have a political system that's very complicated. A filibuster we just talked about, the 60-vote requirement in the Senate. And we've got the Second Amendment. And there is zero chance that will ever be changed. So we really, and also have a very polarized society in the United States between Republicans and Democrats as a result of the last election. So we're sitting in a very tough situation, and frankly, they're going to get this accomplished. I give them a commendation for trying to do this. It's a good thing. It's not good enough, but it's definitely helpful. There's no question about it.
Mark, thank you very much indeed for your analysis there. Mark Meirowitz.